Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It is Thursday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. And to celebrate, the Federal Reserve raised interest rates by 0.5 percentage point. And it's the first time Mark and I are talking since I was A, on vacation, and B, at the White House Correspondents Association dinner over the weekend, which, Mark, was a blast. It was way more fun than I thought it would be. I have to say, totally cool. I'm so glad I did it. And I have never felt like prouder to be part of the CBS radio family, because the guy who is the president of the White House Correspondents Association right now is Stephen Portnoy. Now, you know him. He's you hear him on the network doing all this great coverage. Mark, it was almost like he was better than the president and he was better than Trevor Noah. He gave a lot of remarks and he was amazing. I think people were shocked at just how fabulous he was. And of course, because that he is there, my table, the radio table, the CBS radio table, front row. That's how I had all those great pictures. That wasn't like a big Zoom, like there was the president right in front of me. It was hysterical. Yes, there was Secret Service everywhere, high security. You know, we had to go through like the big time security. And he was in a great mood. You know, I said to Jackie, it was as if like your father, Jackie's dad, had this like very lovely style and could always laugh at himself. I said, it's like if your father were 78 or 79 years old and all of his colleagues were roasting him, he'd just laugh. That's what President Biden did. He just laughed and it's like everyone was in a really good mood. It was so funny because I just heard someone else talk about it. Like, I would never go to that petri dish of an event and it's so stupid and why people do it. You know what? Everyone's going to sporting events, and at least we had to be double vaxxed and boosted and get a negative test result morning of, like the day of this event. So it was a blast, and I'm very grateful to the folks at CBS for including me. And it was a great way to kind of slide back into reality after a beautiful week off. Anyway, so, and I missed a big week last week, huh, Mark? I put it up on the website. Roaring 20s morphs into a whimper. And I talked a lot about the markets falling. But, you know, one thing that I didn't really get into, I mean, some of the numbers are pretty daunting, but also the GDP report that came out last week that showed a negative. Some people have been wondering, like, why was it negative? Well, consumers spent, companies spent, the government cut back on spending, and the trade deficit skyrocketed. That's it. You know, it's CIG, consumption, investment, government, and then trade. Those are the aspects of the GDP. Mark, what about the April sell-off in technology? What do you think? Netflix down by half in 1 month. Boof. Anyway, NASDAQ composite was down 13%, the worst monthly percentage loss since October of 2008. NASDAQ obviously in a full-blown bear market. S&P 500 also had a rotten time, and no hiding in the bond market. I'm going to write about the bond market for this weekend. So you'll hear about that. And Mark has booked a phenomenal bond market expert who's coming on soonish, right, Mark? We have the interviews coming up. And so we'll get that out for you guys. It's very important that you not bail on your bonds. Please don't do that. Really. You know, take a deep breath, gang, because all this stuff is going to start to settle down and it's going to be bumpy for a while. And a lot of you have never been invested over a period of time where we had sustained losses. You know, we had losses in the market in spring of 2020, but it didn't last too long. Anyway, if you have a financial question, you know what to do. Go to the website, jillonmoney.com, which is easy for you because I know you've bookmarked it. So that is what makes it so much better. I have another idea for the website, Mark. I forgot to tell you about that, but I'll tell you after we get off the air. It's going to include Mark and the website. That's all I can tell you. All right. You hate it already, don't you? Let's do some emails. Here we go from Chuck. Chuck says, the subject is monthly investment. He says, I have $300,000 from the sale of my house after buying another home, which I paid cash for. My financial advisor, who I've been with for about 30 years, recommended that I invest the $300,000, $25,000 each month. And it would be in a taxable joint account with my wife. Okay. Chuck's 78. His wife is 77. Good idea or not? And why? At the present time, my wife and I have about $740,000 in IRAs and the joint account. So, okay, that's the corpus. First of all, you have a financial advisor. You've been with this person for 30 years. And that would mean I'm hoping that that person knows you and your personality, right? Because, mathematically, it would probably be better if you just invest it all at once. On the other hand, maybe your advisor knows that you get a little squeamish, and maybe your advisor knows that it would kind of be better to do a little bit at a time. I don't know what your allocation is, but I presume that of the money that you have invested, you don't need any of it anytime soon. If you were to be in a position where you think you might need some of this money, then just keep it on the sidelines. Don't put it at work at all, and keep it kind of conservative. There's no reason if you're paying your bills and you've got some income, then I don't think you need to go too crazy with this. And of course, because you're in your 70s, you're taking your required minimum distribution. So just make sure you've got the money to pay the tax for that and all those things. But yeah, I don't have a problem with this. Seems like fine. Okay. Angela writes, Angelia is over 50 and says, how much savings should go to a Roth 401k? Okay, here are the numbers. She saves 20% of her salary. $127,000 is her salary. 15% goes to a traditional 401k, 5% to a Roth. The current balance of her 401k, $100,000, 53 years old, wants to go part-time at 58. I have $800,000 in retirement savings, $200,000 in a taxable brokerage account, $50,000 in a 529. One daughter, 17 years old. Husband has $500,000 in ExxonMobil stock. Mark, oh my God. That's a bet for you. That stock must be killing it. Maybe you should sell some of that stock. Husband's going to retire in 5 years at age 55. Also, we'll be having some pension, not sure about the amount. How much does your husband make? Right? I mean, your salary is 127, but let's just say, what should we make the husband's salary, Mark, just for the heck of it? All right. So let's say it's 127 and 150. So they're in the 24% tax bracket. You know what? I'd go all Roth. I know Mark would too. You want to go part-time at 58. He wants to retire in 5 years at 55. I don't know. Are you sure you can do this? I'm not sure you can do it. Depends on how much you actually need. I need a little bit more info. All right. Trudy is single and 60 years old, makes $50,000 a year plus a pension of $20,000, one adult child. During COVID, I changed jobs and I now make half of what I was making. I'm taking $40,000 out of my 401k annually. I'm breathing. Did you hear that? I was like, I have a little heartburn from that. So the balance on the 401k is $500,000. I contribute 6% of my salary. Well, don't do that. Your company matches 3%. Just drop your contribution level to 3%. That's number one. She says she'll get Social Security in 67. Should she be okay to retire in 7 years? I think that's taking too much money out of that 401k. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, I mean, I would say the most you should be taking out is like $1,000, $1,200 a month. I don't know what else is going on. Do you own a home? What's happening? Your adult child. I don't know how much you really need. So you're making 50 plus you have a pension of 20. So you've got $70,000 of income. Why are you taking 40 grand out of that 401k? First of all, okay, a couple of things. Number one, stop taking so much money out of your 401k. Number two, drop your contribution to your 401k currently to 3%. And number three, focus a little bit more on tightening up your budget right now. This could be a very dangerous time for you, Trudy. I don't want you to blow through all this money. And if you keep taking money out of your 401k at the same rate, you will not be able to retire in 7 years. But if you're telling me, you got to figure out at age 67, can you live on your pension and your Social Security? That's what your goal should be. All right, Trudy has a little extra advice. You ready, Mark? Tell your listeners to check their HR plans at work for estate planning preparation. Hidden within my plan was estate planning services, and I was able to get a will and all the documents necessary, and it was provided by a top law firm for free. No fee. That's a good point. A lot of companies started adding that. So yeah, check that out, especially if you work for a big company. Lori says, my husband works for a Pennsylvania State University, makes around $47,000, but has the benefit, or maybe I should say and has the benefit of college tuition reimbursement for 2 kids ages 14 and 15, assuming they attend that university. My question, should he consider a different job that pays $67,000 a year instead of the income now and save the difference for college? Absolutely no way. I say stay. What do you say, Mark? Not a big enough difference. If he could go from 47 to 97, now we're talking. But the extra 20 grand, first of all, you're going to get paid. You have to get taxed on the extra 20 grand. You're not going to save enough money for to pay for college, especially at their ages. So stay where he is through college, and then you can get a new job, or maybe you can get a new job. Okay. Greg is asking about mortgages. Are we better off getting 10% on our money that is almost guaranteed, or paying our mortgage off at 3%? What do you mean guaranteed? What is 10% guaranteed, Mark? Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about getting a new I-bond at 9.6%, which I love, my new favorite asset, sure, do that. But we need to know more about you. Hey, gang, I know everyone likes to talk about the mortgage payoff, but aren't you glad you didn't pay off that mortgage right now? You got your money. Inflation is, ticking up. It could be a good time for you to have that money. So I'd like to know more about you, Greg. All right. Very good. So tomorrow we're going to get a jobs report, and it's going to be for the month of April. And it looks to me like the expectation is a 400,000 print as in new jobs. The unemployment rate might tick down to 3.5%. That would be tying a 50-year low. I think that job creation is going to start to slow down soon. We can't keep, 500,000 or 600,000 a month. That would just be a lot. So I expect that to slow down. If something weird happens, I'll come and, we'll let you know about it. But that's tomorrow morning. So there you go. Okay. It's Thursday, and we hope you are having a good day. So remember, if you've got a financial question, go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button. Let us know if you'd be willing to come on the air. Mark will do everything else, and try to lift somebody up today. Grit, growth, grace. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.